The opposition National Democratic Congress has called on the special prosecutor to launch full-scale investigations into the allegations of money laundering and illicit gold trade by element in the Akufo-Addo NPP government contained in a recent AI Al Jazeera documentary. The party has also demanded similar investigations into a leaked cabinet report by erstwhile Environment Minister and Chairman of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, IMCIM, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Addressing a press conference at the party's headquarters on Tuesday, National Communications Officer of the NDC, Dayi MP, made references to a recent documentary by international news network Al Jazeera into the activities of a gold smuggling syndicate operating in various African countries, including Ghana. The NDC alleges that there exists a relationship between the deadly racket and the president of Ghana and other high-ranking officials of the ruling NPP government.
We in the National Democratic Congress are deeply concerned about the damning revelations about our president in the latest documentary by Al Jazeera. The continuous naming of the president and his vice in all manner of bribe-taking syndicates must be a cause for concern for every patriotic Ghanaian who cares about the image of the presidency. Never in the history of this country, and I repeat, never in the history of this country has the presidency been so depraved and reduced to a criminal mafia as we are witnessing today. As has become standard practice under the Akufo-Addo NPP government, the presidency has kept a deafening silence on this matter in the wake of the damning revelations contained in the Al Jazeera documentary. Given the record and penchant of this government to cover up grafts, Ghanaians cannot and must not accept silence or the usual flippant denials emanating from the corridors of power. It is against this backdrop that the NDC hereby wishes to call on the special prosecutor to take keen interest in this matter and launch a full-scale investigation into this matter with the aim of prosecuting anyone found culpable. Additionally, given the considerable public interest in this matter and what it portends for Ghana's image among the global community of nations, we wish to call on Parliament, the representatives of the people, to set up a publicly televised and bipartisan probe into this matter in order to ascertain the truth.
Now, he also described Akufo-Addo's fight against galamsey as a mere charade, asking Parliament to institute a publicly televised and bipartisan inquiry into the report.
As we in the NDC have always maintained, President Akufo-Addo's proclaimed fight against galamsey was the biggest scam ever to be perpetrated on Ghanaians. Today, the NDC stands vindicated, as a report authored by the German-trained cardiothoracic surgeon and former Minister of Environment and Science, Professor Frimpong Boateng, has all but confirmed our long-held opinion that there has never been any genuine commitment or any attempts to fight galamsey by the Akufo-Addo NPP government. The said report by the German-trained cardiothoracic surgeon shows clearly that the so-called fight against galamsey was a charade calculated to enable top government and NPP functionaries to appropriate and take over the illicit galamsey trade. We are of the view that the only way to establish the truth and get to the bottom of the issues contained in the Professor Frimpong Boateng galamsey report is for Parliament to institute a publicly televised and bipartisan inquiry into this report, which essentially is an obituary of President Akufo-Addo's monumentally failed fight against illegal mining.
Well, so this matter borders on the small-scale mining sector, and the Ghana Small-Scale Mining Association believes this is a worrying development that must get every Ghanaian to insist on leadership to do the right things. Joining us on the telephone is the Financial Director of the Ghana Small-Scale Association, Francis Opoko. Grateful to you that you could join us here. Now, you believe that this is a very disturbing situation. You are on the field. What have you seen to make you conclude that this is a disturbing situation?
Let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers and listeners across the globe. To us as Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, and to me in particular, the content of this report is not only sad and disgracing, it's also disturbing. Disturbing in the sense that, I mean, when we hear of people who are in a position of trust and are supposed to discharge their duties diligently, who end up perpetrating the same crime as alleged, then there's a problem. And this is why we as small-scale miners feel that it's high time as Ghanaians we interrogate these issues thoroughly and then come out with an acceptable solution to this problem once and for all.
But is it a case that you also do see some of these political elements, you know, meddling in the galamsey business that we are fighting against?
Obviously, in our account, there's an adage that some safety in so move a country, to which if a close friend of a crocodile come out and tell us that the crocodile is dead, we don't have to argue with it. So, looking at the eminent professor, as our president will always describe him, coming out with these allegations or with this report, and nobody is coming out to even accept any of the allegations he raised, then there's a question. And this is typical of most of our politicians. They don't tell the truth. So, I mean, why would you say that the person of this stature will raise all these, I mean, numerous people alleged to be perpetrating or behind these happenings, and no one has come out to admit it? Fine, we don't expect them to admit it, but the question is that small-scale mining, let us note, that is a legal business. So we feel sad because we are expecting that people like those whose names have been mentioned, whom we know, we, the association members, I mean, we know that these people, a lot of them are truly involved in it, to come out and tell the whole Ghanaian that this business is a legal business, it's born out of law, it's born out of acts of parliament, and so they are supposed to be a model. But they end up distancing themselves from the sector. Meanwhile, the sector that is giving a lot of them money to even finance their political parties.
But what you're talking about is different from galamsey, of which the professor says a lot of them are involved in it. You are talking about legal small-scale mining, but the professor says a lot of them are involved in galamsey. Two different things. Is that not it?
That is it. But you see, what is happening is that people don't even want to identify themselves with the legal small-scale mining.
Okay.
But let me touch on the issue of the issues raised against them.
Okay.
A lot of the issues raised against them is in connection with mining in the forest reserve.
Okay.
And this is where their influences are first more. The political influences. I call it political galamsey.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm grateful that you could spend some time with us. Now, let's stay a bit longer on this particular matter, because the Member of Parliament for South Dayi has petitioned the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice CHRAJ to investigate claims of corruption against top government officials and allies facilitating or actively engaging in illegal mining. In a 36-page document, former chair of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Professor Frimpong Boateng, claimed that some top government officials, including personnel at the presidency, members of parliament and cabinet ministers, were thwarting efforts to end illegal mining. Already, the presidency has described the report as a catalogue of personal grievances and without fact. Now, however, the member of parliament for South Dayi, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo, believes the content of the document are not mere allegations. He has therefore petitioned CHRAJ to probe the persons named in the report, including the author of the document. My colleague Michael Ashley spoke with the lawyer for the parliamentarian, Ni Papo Samoa Ado.
Oh, so just a few minutes to 1 p.m., lawyers for South Dayi MP, Dafiamapo, came to CHRAJ to present a petition here. I have the lawyer here. Let me ask him just a few questions that have come out of it. So we have seen the reports that you have made reference to, that you are trying to petition CHRAJ to look through. Correct. But from what we have seen from the presidency in itself, the presidency says this, at best, this is a catalogue of personal grievances. I mean, why do you think there's substance in this report for which you are petitioning CHRAJ?
And this is even why it is even a perfect time for us to come to CHRAJ, because clearly the president has given a signal that he's not interested in the report. We think that as a former minister of environment, he's a man of stature. Professor Boateng is not just any ordinary person. And the allegations he makes are not bare allegations. These are allegations that he has supported with facts, letters. And in fact, in his other two responses he made, he added more facts, more letters. And so this is somebody that we believe, given the proper forum, independent forum, where he knows he has no fear for his life and he knows he will be protected, which CHRAJ has the mandate to do, I'm sure he will even give us more. We cannot brush this under the carpet. Unfortunately, we cannot agree with the president that this is something that can be brushed under the carpet. We refuse to brush it under the carpet because this is not an issue that is simply one for us to just take for granted. This is not one of the things that you, as they say, he can clear. This is a matter that borders on life and death. This is a matter that touches our water bodies. This is a matter that touches on the economic rights of the people that are in those areas affected. Farming, for example. All those areas are complaining about farming issues. The fact that their farming and cash crops are being destroyed. The pollution of the soil, the pollution of the water bodies. These are human rights matters. And so I'm sorry. But if the president thinks that this is hearsay, we disagree with him. That is why we've come to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and we expect to get justice.
Again, you haven't spoken to the part about whether you think it has substance. The presidency again says that
obviously,
there's no evidence in it that substantiates some of the allegations he made.
It is not for the president to make that determination. He has looked at the report and he says that, in his opinion, he doesn't see any merit in it, and that he talked about issues of transmission of the report and how the report should have been. We don't care about that. We care about the substance in the allegations. There are serious allegations, and we believe that the CHRAJ will bear it out. We have no personal grievance against anybody, but the point is this: the Honorable Member of Parliament has oversight responsibility. He has seen the report. He believes that the report contains enough basis for investigations. And luckily, the architecture of our constitution has made it clear that when it comes to allegations of corruption, abuse of public office, and human rights violations, it is not the presidency that we go to. It's a CHRAJ that we come to. And that is why we are here.
Now, how soon do you expect something meaningful to come out of this petition?
Soon. We have an acknowledgement letter we expect from the CHRAJ tomorrow. We intend to be here every week. And so every week you will find me here, following up, asking questions, because we expect public hearings to begin. All we have is to meet the threshold of have enough to be able to investigate it. Once CHRAJ begins to write to us and deal with the matters, we will make this a public issue. This matter is not going to go away. If anybody for any moment thinks that this matter is going to go away, it's a lie.
CHRAJ has acknowledged receipt of this particular petition and says it will accord the petition all the seriousness that it deserves. He's been speaking on Top Story to my colleague Evans Mensah.
We received it and we are studying it. The next steps will be to acknowledge it tomorrow, and then we'll determine whether by an interim assessment or an initial assessment whether the allegations that have been made really trigger the mandates of the commission.
And how do you come to making that judgment on whether or not to proceed or just terminate it at the initial stage?
It depends on what is in the petition and what has been attached as part of the documents which were brought in by the petition. After studying them, we may undertake a preliminary investigation. We may even invite the lawyer for further and better particulars in respect of aspects of the petition. When we are satisfied that clear allegations have been made which trigger any of the mandates of the commission, we would then proceed to determine who are the respondents in this particular case. Because, the report is quite broad, touches so many people, and so the ones who are germane will certainly be the ones we will look for. And then we would request them to make any comments that they have, of course, as natural justice will require. And then the next steps will be determined by the procedures of the commission.
And just a bit on the strategy on Monday, because this has to do with illegal mining in galamsey and people's alleged involvement in largely allegations of destruction of the environment. What would you tell those who say, does this necessarily fall within the purview of CHRAJ?
Well, I can give you a general answer because it's a matter that we are yet to go into. But as a matter of rights, the environmental rights exist. They are rights by themselves, which public officers and public institutions owe to the people of Ghana. And so to the extent that fiduciary relationships have been established between public officials in terms of their role in safeguarding the environment, if allegations have been made, those allegations certainly will be triggering the human rights mandate. But as I said, I'm speaking generally, if it comes to the petition, we'll look at the specifics of the petition and to what extent they trigger which aspects of the human rights mandate in respect of the environment.
Does the fact that this is such a high-profile matter that went before the president, involves, ministers, a former one who altered it, was a chair of a committee the president himself set up, does it change anything? Does it change your approach? Does it expedite it further? Does it add extra spice to your work that you're doing?
This is a constitutional body. We will perform our mandate as required of us by the Constitution. Whether the matter came before the president or not does not necessarily add any more weight or reduce the weight on it.
And any timelines you expect for this to fall within? Looking at the quantum, the sheer size of the petition and the accompanying documents, and the possibility that we'll be getting back to the lawyers, if any, and then the preliminary investigation, I cannot put my hand on it. But I think, given the public interest that Ghanaians have over this protracted matter, we would, within the means available to the Commission, give it the deserved attention that this particular galamsey issues, which have bedeviled the public space, deserve.
So that's Joseph Wattal, Commissioner of CHRAJ, speaking to my colleague Evans Mingsa on Joy 99.7 FM. Now,